All right. Well, on May the 6th of 2022, a band out of Australia called Stand Atlantic will release their third record, F.E.A.R, which stands for Fuck Everything and Run. And I had a wonderful conversation with their lead singer, Bonnie Fraser. Now, admittedly, she calls the North of England home, but we'll get into that in this chat. Further, if you want to discover true modern rock, and I'm talking nothing older than the 2017 release and over 5,000 bands that have released songs since 2020, please consider diving into whatwasthatradio.com. Maybe check out the Arts Academy, the community of Wuzzers, and the podcast as well that splits two ways. A conversation with, some of these can be 40 to 3 hours long, minutes, 40 to be clear. And then we've got what was short. God, 40 hours. Some of these artists probably could have spoken to for 40 hours straight. That's the biggest difficulty for me, is saying goodbye from people that galvanize me, and I want to learn as much as possible about their soul in turn as well. Anyway, here's a wonderful conversation with Bonnie Fraser of Stand Atlantic. Again, thank you for flipping being here.
Hello.
Hello, Bonnie. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. I really appreciate your time.
Of course, anytime.
Is there any chance you could cheekily go landscape on me with the phone, or is that going to be a pain in the ass?
I was just gonna ask if you wanted me to do that.
Thank you.
Hang on. Did that work? We
it
good?
has. Fabulous. Yes. Now I will quickly, I'll quickly boringly adjust you in my capture mode. All right. There we go. Fabulous.
Sorry, I'm outside, by the way.
No, where are you right now?
I'm just in Manchester, but I'm just outside my flat because there's stuff going on in my flat, and I was just like, I need some privacy.
Yeah, because how long is it that you've been in England now?
I mean, I've been paying rent since the end of 2019, but with COVID and stuff, I was like back and forth for like 6 months at a time, like 6 months here, 6 months in Oz. But now I'm here like full time, so we good.
Awesome. Yeah, lovely. No, I mean, I'm originally from the south of England, but I moved to Canada. I'm on Vancouver Island on the west coast. I've been here for nearly 12 years now. So
really?
Yeah.
You like it?
I love it here. Yes. But really, technically, it stems from my mum's side of the family and my grandmother who passed away, and we had to get together here. And we'd never really gone anywhere growing up. And so I had a bunch of cousins and second, third cousins that said, well, why don't you just get here this summer and we'll take care of you? So I backpacked. It turned from 3 weeks to a month and a half. And then I thought, fuck it, I'll move here because I've been chasing radio for years. As a kid, you're not going to get signed. You're not going to get signed. But I moved here when I was 23. I'm 35 in a couple of weeks. That feels right. That feels 12 years. Quick math. Yeah.
Good on you, though. It fucking takes balls, doesn't it?
Well, that's what. But that's the thing. But that, I mean, if we're going to speak about balls right within the first 2 minutes, I mean, you moved to England to get more access to Love Island. What tripe? Why? This has become your go-to. Really?
How did you know I love Love Island? How did you know that?
Well, you speak of it in certain circles.
I do like Love Island. I'm not going to lie. It's just drama. It's escapism, isn't it? When you're having a shit time, chuck on some reality TV and you're good. Gets you in.
But that's.
I'm sorry. What?
No. I interrupted you, Bonnie.
I'm just going to say, yeah, no, the reason I moved here was because my partner lives here. So I was like, well, that makes no sense because she's also in music. I was like, it makes no sense for you to come to Australia. Australia is so rejected. So I'll come to you. And now I'm here and I love it.
Well, we'll touch on that in a bit because I think Australia right now is relentless with its ability when it comes to rock bands and punk bands. I mean, half of what's important before we go on, and I know we've got 20 minutes and I appreciate that, is some further context on me is that I did get into commercial radio. I worked for a modern rock station called The Zone on Vancouver Island in Victoria for a decade. And I chose to leave at the start of the pandemic to seek more growth. I felt that I had a really successful 10 years there, a great time doing from overnight to evening to midday. But I just felt that I was going stagnant in the company. And with the pandemic coming about, it seemed like a good time to dive into the pit of what the fuck is happening. Well, now seems like the time to start something new. So what was that radio that is the podcast? And I thank you again for your time. It's the 24/7 radio station. And all in between, it's about discovering true modern rock. So nothing is older than 2017. 90% of my playlist, of which I've got over 5,000 unique bands, are from 2020 onwards release. And when I go through the bands, I have the most from nationalities that I feature. It's England, it's Australia, it's Norway, and it's America and Canada. And so whilst we'll jump into that later, that context aside, what I'm so fascinated with F.E.A.R, Fuck Everything and Run, May 6th, third record, Hopeless Records is the release, is your attack at celebrities. And what I've adored about you and your band for the decade is the authenticity and the fun and the cheekiness of it.
Thank you.
And one of the things that really does my head in is people feeling like everyone, as soon as, and this is what really tested me in my 10 years in commercial radio, and why I left it, quite frankly, was partly due to ego, due to everyone feeling by proxy they are the grand influencer of what everyone must do. Yep. I love the fact that you say, fuck that shit. It doesn't matter. Yeah. I just got to live my life as myself. So what's your, I mean, my question, if you want me to build into that, is why didn't you attack Kim Kardashian? Why didn't you attack Orlando Bloom? Because I don't see any song titles on here that say Earn My Breakfast or what was it that Kim said? Get your fucking ass up and work. You know, I just feel that those are two examples of maybe the putrid energy and the cheekiness you're approaching with this record.
We love to be cheeky because we just like, I don't know. I feel like I view celebrities and all that. I mean, I'm not attacking any specific celebrities when I say this. It's just like, there's so much fake shit around. And I'm like, why do we need to do that? Like, I get that like kids will look at that and think it's larger than life and like want something to aspire to, but is not realistic for a lot of people. And I'm just so sick of people pretending like they're the bee's knees and like they're the shit. It's like, bro, everyone else writes your songs for you. Fuck off. You know what I mean? It's just like that kind of shit. And like, do not get me wrong. There are some fucking talented people that shouldn't even be on planet Earth, in my opinion, like, because it's like they're gifted and that's amazing. And like some people can create records that are like 100% this like full on story and they put so much work and effort into that. And I admire that so much because I could never fucking do that. I'm a low life. I can't do that. I just write about my feelings because when I was growing up, I didn't express them and I still don't really to this day. The only time I've been able to like express what I'm feeling is through music. And that sounds douchey, but it's fucking true. And like, that's all I've ever done. My life isn't linear. My feelings aren't linear. This album is like anti-concept. It's just like, I just wanted to throw my feelings at the wall, like it or leave it. I don't give a fuck. We just like to make good songs. That's just it. And I'm sick of people like trying to bullshit their way through like life and like thinking that they're the shit when they're not. They're just a regular person, but they'll never say that.
It's difficult because, I mean, some further context on me, and we won't go too deep into this, but disclaimer for those that might be by a triggering story, which was when I was 10 years old. I mean, I grew up in the south of England in a place called Malmesbury, and I went to primary school, elementary school, whatever, when I was a kid, a place called Crudwell. And it's interesting because, as you know, you fucking know, English slang, crud means shit, right? So I went to a shit little school, with all no disrespect, but some disrespect. But I mean, humor into harrowing. When I was 10, the school was going through renovations. There was a porta potty situation outside, a little wood cabin instead of bathrooms. And I went out to the bathroom, and one day a couple of guys that I don't know did some horrendous things. And what that meant was that me growing up into my teenage years was very much like most kids will do. You know, I tried on the emo hat, the prog rock hat, the punk hat, whatever it was, went through all these designs, you know, best friends. One day you're straightening my hair, next day I'm like, how do you get the straightener out of this thing? I don't know if I want to be that MySpace, but just trying to find the confidence and the grounding within. And for me, it was performing as well. I started doing stand-up when I was 13 years old and just being so cynical and sarcastic and just having this other, you can't necessarily walk around the bedroom or the living room, the kitchen with mum and dad and be like, I think fucking fuck, because you're going to be like, come on. But being on a pub stage with a group of people that didn't know me and expressing that way and turning my anger against jokes about, you know, other figures or twisting the stories to make a joke out of what I had gone through in order to try and process it and grow stronger from it, which I've spent 20 years working on. And that's what I think has always caught me with you, and why I've been so excited to speak with you, is that what do you want to speak to and how you've built this confidence? How do you look at Bonnie 10 years ago when you started this with your friends and compare it to the mental 6 weeks that you spent in that studio getting F.E.A.R ready and just unleashing and unraveling yourself?
It definitely has given me so much more confidence. It's like helped me figure out who I am, because I've been able to actually chase the thing that I've always wanted to do. And I've never felt more genuine than I do, like when I'm on tour. And then like, and doing this whole band thing is what I've wanted since I was a kid. And like, when that was all taken away, like in the last 2 years, I don't want to harp on about COVID because let's ignore it. But like when that was all taken away, I literally had to be like, holy fuck, like who am I without this? I didn't feel grounded. I didn't feel like I was anyone. And I had to kind of like rejig like how I thought about myself. And like I just realized that I get so much confidence from this. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because I feel like it's the one thing I've always wanted to do. I put so much time and energy and effort into it that it's like pretty much become my whole existence. And I don't know, like when I was like 10 years ago, like I was so incompetent. I still am now. Like I don't have this like huge confidence that a lot of people do. And I guess you can fake it till you make it. But like looking back at who I was like 10 years ago or even before that, like absolutely no fucking clue of who I was, absolutely nothing. And now to be where I am now, and I am more self-assured now. It's just because of this band. And I don't know if that's cheesy as hell, but it's so true. Like,
no, I don't think it's cheesy at all. I mean, are there moments throughout the last several years where you've noticed, oh, this is a different pep in my step? How can I utilize keeping this energy going? Because for me, the hardest thing is because I'm bipolar as well. So the way that I look at everything is I make lists of things, even though I'm told I'm meant to be terribly disorganized. I like to write down positive moments to dive back into. I like to date them. I like to timestamp them so I can be like, oh, remember that strength that you had then. Are there any things that you've built into your arsenal that, or do you just wait for that being back on stage? And then it's in the last 2 years that you've gone, fuck, how do I find that balance now and utilize past skills learned?
Oh man, I wish I was that organized in my brain. My brain is literally like a pack of noodles. Like it's not good. I don't know what the fuck's going on ever. But like, I don't know. I think I do try and remind myself like what I'm doing. And I find looking to the future helps me more than looking back on times when I was happy, because I feel like I'd just feel more sad if I looked back on times that were in the past where I was happy. And I'm like, but I want to be happy now. So I try and like look towards the future. And I think that's kind of really helped me like move past those like slumps, I guess. If that's what you're asking, I'm not sure. There's never, to be honest with you, there's never really a particular question. There's a set of verbal diarrhea words that amount to some sort of formation that allows you to respond to it. So no, whatever's clever. Quickly to check in, because we're already flying through this. Am I the last one today, or is there someone after me in 10 minutes? No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, lovely.
I don't have anyone after.
Wonderful. Well, only with your comfort will we continue beyond the 20 minutes agreed. But I've got...
Sure.
Obviously, I want to dive into... I've already done the cheeky foray into why haven't we got particular pointed celebrity Orlando Bloom, earn my breakfast. Track 4 is earn my breakfast. And then some whimsical note of you going on a run around LA and then coming back to enjoy a half a sipple of oat milk before a single leaf of seaweed, or whatever the fuck it was. So I haven't had access to the whole record. I've got, I've heard Death Wish from last year. I've heard Pity Party and Hair Out. And looking through the notes that I got from Natasha and Sarah at Looters, who have done such a great job in promoting Stand Atlantic here on the West Coast of North America. Looking at the track list, I see that your mum's on the album. I quickly reverted back to your Rock Sound chat recently. So I do kind of know the direction of this, but there's a two-pronger to this question. For those that are here right now and are watching, and thank you all for being here, if you could just lay down what the process was in writing this. I mean, I hinted at it, 6 weeks aggressive, you in the studio, getting it done. But another thing that I love about it is the whimsical use of the intro and extra in some of the songs, like in Pity Party, when you're like, oh, what's that in your pants? And at the start of Hair Out, when you're teasing, I don't know if anyone's going to fucking like this. Are those authentically in the moment, or are you going, oh shit, let's put that in afterwards?
They happened in the moment, 100%, but to keep them in was obviously a decision we made after. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, that whole process of writing that, and before we started writing, I was in such a mental hole that I couldn't get out of. Like I was going to therapy and shit. Like I was not okay. And during the writing process, me and our producer Stevie Knight, because we were stuck in a room together for so long, and one day with him is enough. Just FYI, like you lose brain cells 100%, and we're so close. And so spending a time like 7 weeks together was like we were going insane, and we just thought, let's just start recording like during the day, like all the dumb shit we're saying, and we'll find a spot to like put it in the record, because I wanted to show people that like, yeah, I was down the dumps. Yeah, our songs are like quite a bit aggressive on this album, and I was frustrated at the whole world. But if you have mates or you have people that care about you, you can always have like a laugh, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's nothing wrong with like taking the piss out of absolutely everything you're going through. And that's what I wanted to kind of get across with those little moments. And I wanted to feel like people were in the room with us, because we hadn't seen anyone for 2 years. And I don't know, I liked it. And I used to like that on records when I was growing up and listening to stuff. Like I would like to hear, it's almost like you get a little backstage pass to the process. So yeah, I just thought, I mean, I don't think any of it makes sense to anyone except us. But like, yeah, I just thought it's funny to keep it in. It's funny for us anyway.
And so the whole recording process, your mum was just trapped in the same room? How did she get on the
No,
record?
not my mum. My mum, she...
No, I know. I know it wasn't your mum you recorded with, but I'm saying like, was she in the same house? Because she's on one of the tracks that I can't hear, but will be released on May 6th.
No, we got her to send it over, because she like could record it herself with a little booth that she's got at home. And I just told her what to say, and she did it straight away. She was so stoked.
So it's a little interlude, or how has it worked into the song? Similar to these two? A note at the end of it, or?
I feel like we were super cheeky by saying it was like featuring my mom, but like she basically, we had a Siri voice in there originally, and it says like a certain thing. And we were going to just use Siri, and I was like, why the fuck don't we just get my mom to do it? Like she does voiceovers. She can literally just do this and make it perfect. And so that was what we used her for. Sweet. And she's never been more excited in her life, even though it's like one line.
No, I look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, I wish you heard the record. I didn't know that you hadn't heard it.
Oh no, well, I mean, it's no. Gosh, no, it's fine. To be honest with you, the way ever since I've stepped out of working in commercial radio, getting conversations like this has become a lot harder, because, as you know, there's a lot of systems in and around the world of music, and
totally.
So that's why I'm so appreciative to speak with you, because you're in a, from the way I'm looking at the industry now, the likes of your band and your ability are just in that, will I get these? I'll cheekily put in a yes, I'm interested. But it's also, again, it's thanks to Natasha and Sarah at Looters, because they actually went through, a lot of people look at metrics and go, right, he's got so many thousands here, so many thousands there. But when I left working in the industry, I deleted all my social media because I can't fucking stand it. So I don't. So whilst I have Instagram and I have the Discord server, I don't have any presence online. And of course, I know that works against me, but I'm more about proving the heart and the passion that I bring to what I do than worrying about metrics. So with Natasha and Sarah to actually look through my conversations that I've done across the last decade and be like, no, I think you should speak with this person. And then from there, honestly, I've got 3 or 4 great chats lined up by them this week, next week. So I really appreciate it. It's a big deal,
man.
You know, to build this.
Good for you though. I respect that hustle of like not succumbing to the online fantasy. Fucking hate it, to be honest.
Well, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Some days I'm like, oh, did I fuck up deleting Facebook with, 10,000 fucking followers and blah, blah, blah. But no, because what I also love is being able to smile more.
Not having to worry about things, and not having like a second and third and fourth job based on every other social media you have.
Well, yeah, when you work in broadcasting for 10 years, you're constantly conversing with people in online threads that half the time they don't particularly care for it. They're just going on for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I liked. That was in one of your pull quotes on Instagram, wasn't it? When you said, was it about Pity Party or was it about Hair Out? I think it's Hair Out, isn't it? When you said this is for all the fucking idiots online, essentially, that just...
It is. Just for the dumb comments of like, even on TikTok, like the other day we posted something on TikTok and I fucking hate all of it. But anyway, posted something on TikTok and it was honestly just the crowd singing one of our songs, right? Harmless fun, harmless video. And we're getting comments of people being like, who the fuck are you? Like, what the fuck are you doing here? It's like, bro, it's a fucking platform, bro. Sorry that you couldn't be asked, like, doing that and getting rid of our video. Like, you have to actually go and comment. I'm just like so done with it, bro. I just like reply to them with like smart ass comments. I'm like, yeah, suck a dick, basically.
Do you ever think about, I often sometimes fantasize about being born in the 60s and making radio in the 70s and 80s or 50s and 60s, 70s. Has that ever dawned on you at all?
Every day of my life. Every day of my life. I wish we could be a band back then. It feels like way better, authentic rock and roll, like so sick. And you don't have to worry about all this extra shit about like who you are online versus who you are in person. Fucking cringe. Fucking cringe as hell.
Yeah, no, the only thing that freaks me out ultimately is airplanes. Like, I'm okay with flying, but I just think, how did the Beatles, like all these bands that got on planes and were like, oh, I think we'll get there just fine. I think everything's going to be fine. No, we won't crash in the ocean.
When you see like photos of like the first planes ever like invented and you're like, bro, these photos are black and white. Y'all didn't have color, like TV and photos, and you're making a fucking plane. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and it just
stay in your lane.
And then you fuckers smoke on it. What are you thinking?
Honestly, that's what people should be talking about now. Fuck everything else. Why do planes exist and how?
And how do they stay up there? I'll
never know.
And so with F.E.A.R, for people that have recently joined, speaking with Bonnie, wonderful Bonnie of Stand Atlantic, and what are some of the, other than Love Island, what are some of the things you just said, bruv, then? Because I find since I've moved to Canada, I feel like I'm clinging on to the English voice, because originally, I mean, from Wiltshire originally, so down there it's all ooh-ah, 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 like, I'm a farmer, I love my cider, that's all great. But then when I went to, sort of performing arts school in England before I came here, then no one could really understand what I said. And I always copy accents. I would copy Robin Williams and this guy called, I don't know if you've seen Ace Ventura or anything, but I copy those two guys, Jim Carrey's voices, all the time. Winnie the Pooh as well, like the go for, say, Winnie's got to go get some honey, like whatever. And I found that since I've moved here, Canadians speak a lot more relaxed. Their words flow. The clarity of diction isn't quite as pronounced as it is in England. And that people would say to me the first 4 or 5 years of living here, like, chill out. And I'm like, what do you mean chill out? I'm just asking you what? I'm just asking you how your day's going. So what are some of the differences you found Australia English, bruv?
Just 2 points to that. First of all, Canadians are always way more chill than Americans. And I always feel like Australians and Canadians always get on. And then I will also say in that, British people are fucking dramatic, and that is that.
Damn it.
And that is why people are telling you to chill out.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, but you're in Manchester. It's all dramatic up there, blue or red or in between, you know?
Sometimes I feel like I'm just like, am I just lazy, or is everyone actually just too dramatic? I don't know. There's so much drama all the time. And I'm like, just fucking chill, bro.
What's an example of that? What's an example before you throw the whole nation under a bus of anger?
I can't give an example. It's just one of those things that you notice at the time. I don't like sit there and write it in my diary. And but it's a general vibe.
You should look up Lee Mack, who's a comedian from London. And Lee Mack did this sketch about 15 years ago about Cockneys and how they seem so contorted. He didn't know how their limbs don't snap off when they walk around and tell you what for, because fucking hell, and he's like doing like the robot, but in
that is the best comparison I've ever heard.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
He's brilliant, Lee Mack. Anyway, no, so I really appreciate the time, and really the Manchester, I don't know if you noticed that for most of this conversation there was an ambulance just behind you in the shot. I hope that those people are okay.
Was there?
Yeah. We didn't see them getting put in it or anything. No. It was,
like, fuck. Can you imagine that?
If it was that macabre, I would have said, Bonnie, can you just tilt left a little bit or something? I don't know.
Or could I go and check if everyone's okay, maybe?
Yeah, just live stream it to Twitch. I mean, what else isn't scandalous on Twitch these days, for goodness sake? But what of the, you've gone with, Death Wish and Nothing Nowhere, Pity Party and Hair Out. What I'm intrigued about, because again, diving into the authenticity of your approach here, is what is your immediate team with Hopeless Records and the band like around you when it comes to what you wish to do? Because one thing that always really bums me out with some of the groups that I've been lucky enough to speak with the last decade is when I get the sense that they are making art for someone else, right? They're making the art for the label, for the manager, for the whatever else there might be out there, and not necessarily from their heart and soul themselves. What is your energy like with, and when you look back at the history of the growth of Stand Atlantic, has it been the same from the start? Have you grown into this new freedom, or what is the world like to you and how you go about making decisions?
I think we've definitely grown into the freedom. At first, I think we definitely just thought label knows best, management knows best every single time. But now we're realizing that, you know, just immediately just like succumbing to their opinion doesn't actually always work for who you are and like what you're trying to put on the table here. Like, especially when it comes to music and stuff, it's like sometimes the label fucking don't know what's best. Like, they want what's best for them. They don't always know like what is going to come across genuine and authentic to you. And I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned is like, if I don't want to do something now, I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. Sorry. Sorry. God bless. No. But yeah, I think that's super important. I don't think that's something you learn immediately when you first like, well, we were quite young when we were starting out and everything. And also coming from Australia where you think you know and you absolutely have no fucking idea. It's like the equivalent of a country town but on a worldwide scale. And like, yeah, I think that's why this record is like sick in my opinion, because we were able to just do what we wanted. And like, yes, there's always pushback with like when I was sending like the demos over and stuff, like, you know, label and management would be like, there's still not a single, like we need more, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like fucking going crazy. Because I'm like, I think I've written everything I could possibly write my entire life now, but okay, I'll give you another song. Let's see how it goes. And at the time I hate them for it. I hate them and it makes me angrier and I write more angry songs.
And then they love the anger. Get out.
And then they love that. Yeah. And then, but at the end of the day, I'm so thankful that they do say that. Whether they mean it or not, I don't know. But like, I'm thankful they do because it always does like just make me push just a little bit more. And that is important to me, I think, because I can look back and be like, sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. No, I can hear you.
Sorry. Oh my God.
I can still hear you though. Don't worry about the lack of.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, forget what I was fucking saying now. Fuck's sake. What was I saying?
Just how the record, they allow you, you know, they pushed you. You don't know if you believe them or not, but either way, it pushed you to keep writing and making better music. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's what I'm glad they do that, even though I hate them at the time, because it makes me push further and further. And I think that's important because I can look back on it and be like, wow, I actually like put so much effort into this and look what we've done now. So yeah, I like it. I hate it and I love it.
Completely random side note. Your name on Zoom is Bin. That's not a reference to you being put in a bin on the record, is it?
No, I probably just typed my name wrong. Fuck me. Classic.
You can call me Bin from now on. Binny Trash. Bin. Yeah, Binny Trash
Binny
Fraser of Stand Atlantic. I didn't think I'd be saying those words to you. I'll take those back immediately.
That is so accurate.
The other thing I've noticed is that with Death Wish, that's 2 minutes and 27 seconds. With Pity Party, that's 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And with Hair Out, that's 2 minutes and 40 seconds. You seem to like the 2:30, 2:40. Is that a conscious thought process in creation?
We are in and out every time. Like, sorry, I just had to message the person that was just calling me because they wouldn't stop. Yeah, we just like the treat them mean to keep them keen. In and out as quick as possible. Just get to the point. No faffing. That's what we're about. Is that what you mean? Or were you trying to find some kind of like...
No, I find whatever answer I get is an answer that I accept and I move on for. I'm not trying to find some fucking magic pot of gold under the rainbow, but no, I know that
there was like some code you were asking for in the times that you gave or something. I was like, no, that's not intentional. We just like to go in and out.
No, I mean, it would have been impressive if you'd responded in Morse code. I wouldn't have known what you were talking about, but it would have been very impressive. Because I mean, with the band I used to be in many years ago, and obviously, you know, you don't know about that band, but we were talking at the time with some friends that were managing other groups and whatnot, and they were saying, you know, some of your songs, you just got to get them all under 3 minutes. And then we had a wonderful chance at the station I used to work at to be our band of the month, which was hilarious. And we were a little bit worried about, because 2 of the 3 of us in the band at the time worked there. We didn't want it to be seen as like, we're just jerking ourselves off here. But that song that the station chose was 5 minutes, and we had to crop it down to 3. And I know that we then tried to go about, well, okay, what if we do try and keep everything 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes? But you've got to have a certain mindset, and for us, we felt like that's maybe not what we want to do, so we won't do that right now. But I mean, I just found it interesting that you were just bam. They were so in and around the same length with the 3 songs so far. And you go back to the last record. I don't know. Again, everything was between 3:24 and 3:46 on the last record. So I was just like, there might be a fucking strange thing going here, but I think Bonnie will quash it pretty quick, which you have. So
it's honestly just like attention spans are short now. Just get to the point and jog on. Say all you need to say and get the fuck out.
Yeah. No,
that's
fabulous.
literally it.
And what's the plan with the rest of, I mean, you've got tour starts once the record's out in a little over a month and a bit here. So how do you then link up with the rest of the guys? You go back to Australia. They never come to see you in Manchester?
No, they never come see me in Manchester. It's too expensive to just come here. But like usually wherever we're touring, we'll get there like a week before, smash out some practice, and then jog on. It's fine. Because most of the songs, we've played them millions of times, so we're okay. It's more so the new songs that we have to like practice together, but we're fine usually. We're okay.
And was that
I'm the one that lacks.
Oh, goodness sake. Was that the cool, like when with the music videos, is that part of the Australia go back home, and that was part of the process to get the 3 videos done so far, or?
Videos and writing, yeah. I just did, because I was doing so many Zoom sessions, and I was like, I fucking hate this, man. Writing over Zoom is shit. I mean, but we wrote Pity Party over Zoom. That was like the best thing that came out of it, in my opinion. But like, yeah, writing over Zoom is just so pathetic. It's like hard for me anyway. I prefer to be in the room with someone and like, synergy, bro. So yeah, I went back home, and then that's when I locked myself in Stevie's house for fucking 7 weeks.
And then is it you and Stevie that play or compose instrumentation, or how do you tackle writing in your group?
It's always different, but generally speaking, I'll have a voice memo of like some guitar and vocals that I've just like pulled out my ass in my bedroom, and then Stevie says, that sucks. And then I play the next one, and he's like, all right, that's cool. Let's start with that. Or sometimes it's just like one lyric that we want to try, and we build around that. Sometimes it's a riff. Sometimes it's like a feeling or some kind of style that we want to just get across. It's so different. It's different every single time. But yeah, I don't have a straight answer for that.
No, that's fine. I don't expect any straight answers. I just expect the words that come out, because that's the truth. But with Royal and the Serpent and Nothing Nowhere, were these Zoom collabs as well then? How it's so fascinating with all this new technology and whatnot. And obviously, yeah, I mean, I've seen in interviews you've been asked before where some bands absolutely dive into it and think this is the greatest thing to tack on new tools. And some bands are like, I'm a purist, fuck this. But how did you combine with Nothing Nowhere and Royal and the Serpent?
We reached out to them, and we didn't think we were going to they were like our top picks for both those songs as well. We didn't think we'd going to get them at all, because we were like, who are we? But then they both just really liked the songs that we sent them. And we had parts written. Pity Party was already just fully written. All Royal had to do was like just track. And then Nothing Nowhere, we were like, listen, man, you're great. We've written this whole song, but if you want to write your own verse, do it. And he did it, and he smashed it. We didn't even have to go back to him and be like, can you change this? Can you do that? He just like ripped it in one go. So guy's a legend.
Perfect. Question. Yeah. What is that? Is someone scraping tarmac in front of you, or is there an alien invasion that I can hear? What is that sound?
I didn't think you'd be able to hear that, but it's just, I think there's construction going on the road behind me.
Good old Manchester gravel. No, don't move. Don't move. No.
Okay.
Because I've got to go and do a radio show in a little bit. So, and I've already got a cheeky extra 15 minutes with you. So that's wonderful. But what was the last thing I was going to say then? I just had it, and then I got distracted by the aliens and War of the Worlds, which is gravel.
We're talking about features.
Oh, I was going to cheekily ask if it's okay when, no doubt, someone rips it and removes the vocals and puts an instrumental out. I kind of am really feeling inspired in making a celebrity dig song that then doesn't get you in trouble over the instrumental of Pity Party or something like that. Because
Go for it.
and I literally just quoting celebrities that have said such out of touch nonsense and drivel. I just like the Orlando Bloom thing always comes to mind.
The list goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And then really lastly, beyond I want to just touch on some Australian bands. I know that it's so fascinating. Many of them that I speak to and say it is like a whole new world compared to rather Europe and North America. But for me, I love Loser. I don't know if you've heard Loser and Psychedelic Porn Crumpets and Dear Seattle.
Definitely.
And I could go on and on and on. I just think that Australia is just Sophisticated Dingo. I love those guys, that two-piece punk band. Just was speaking with Lewis yesterday. Why is it that you think that, because to me Australia is dripping in incredible modern rock, and I'm so fascinated by the mindset. You're looking out. Is that a classic case of, well, maybe we just got to go there? What does it look like and experience like to you?
Well, I mean, I feel like Australia's always had great rock bands, but some of them haven't like 100% made it overseas or anything like that. But like, I mean, AC/DC for one, and then we had like Cold Chisel, like just so many great Australian rock bands, Powderfinger, Jet, like it's just always been in the blood, I feel like. But in terms of like modern rock and stuff there, or just music in general, I do think that there's a mentality in Australia that you're not gonna do anything outside of that country unless you get out and you make the best shit that you can, because the competition's so fierce in the world, or in North America particularly, I think. In the UK, it's like competition's so big, but you need to get out of your country and be the best in your country before you can go out there. So I just think there's an innate drive in a lot of bands that want to make it out of there, that they have to write the best shit that they can and be the best. And I think that's just what, like, I don't know, that's the only thing I can pin it down to anyway. Like, we knew the competition we were up against, that was like, I say competition, but it's not like, oh, I want to fuck these guys over there. It's just kind of like, that's the caliber is a better word. And they were all like from the States or from the UK, and we're like, right, well, we have to be just as good or better to get out of Australia, because no one's going to fucking come here. So yeah, that's my take on that.
What was it like the first time that you played a show outside of Australia?
It was in Cologne, and everyone knew the words to our songs, and I was blown away. And then we played other places like Poland and Slovakia and stuff, and no one knew shit. So it was like really great way to start. And then we were faced with the reality of, holy fuck, no one knows who we are. But yeah, it was sick. I love touring overseas. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go into that question particularly well, but because what was in the back of my mind was the Tasers, who are this really cool psychedelic fuzz rock band out of South Africa. And when I spoke with them a few months ago, they were saying how where they're at, Johannesburg, there are 2 venues that will let you play rock and roll. And it is really an underground affair, and they're desperate to get out. They were right about to get out on tour and do Europe for the first time before, right? And and that's what fascinates me then about just learning about the difference in culture and how they go about, and how you go about growing a band and getting to where you'd like to go within your own goals of the group, whatever that might be. Some bands might just want to rule Australia and nothing else. Some bands might want to go to North America and nowhere else. So it's so fascinating to get the little mindsets and snapshots of people's thoughts with that. But
from my experience, like, we just wanted to travel and do this. Like, what is cooler or funner than that? Like, we definitely wanted to always get out of Australia, and obviously we'll always go back. But yeah, I think also Australia has a fucking lack of venues too now. Like, there's barely any anymore. They keep getting shut down. Like, it's just frustrating. The government does give 2 fucks about music unless you're a little jazz club. That's it.
But then you're in England, where the Chancellor of the Exchequer said last year to musicians that were losing income, just go and work at Tesco.
Pretty much, yeah. So governments in general don't give a fuck about music.
Which is fascinating, because for me, when someone says to me, if this comes up in conversation about why is the arts in England so impressive. I always say it's due to the multiculturalism. It's due to the incredible amount of souls that have come from all over the planet to this country, brought with them their backgrounds, their culture, and inspired in turn people from there, and combined and conjoined to make. And I think that's why England's always been so stared upon, like the mythical energy. And I remember going to LA only 5, 6, 7 years ago and being like, oh my God. And then getting there and being like, it's just another place. It's just another place with people with different attitudes. There's this mystical energy around it, when really it's due to the multicultural diversity that brings such growth and excitement, I believe.
Yeah. When you go to LA, it's just real life, but you're somewhere else. It's the same shit.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I fully get you.
The last couple of things is I'd love to know some of the bands that are exciting you right now, and maybe some of the bands that you feel need a little bit more eyes and earglugs on them, not necessarily the big established groups, but who's exciting you that's emerging from anywhere, with any genre, anything?
I'm really shit at the moment with like finding new artists that I really, really like, but there is a Canadian band called Soft Cult that I really love. They're like a better Turnover. I love Turnover, but they're really good. And yeah, that would be my shout right now.
Sweet. Well, I spoke to the Twins a few months back, and they're
sweet.
They're wonderful as well.
They're so lovely, so nice.
I was admittedly in a bit of a dark headspace that day, and I was a bit bummed that the chat went so lovely and we spoke for over an hour, but I was like, oh God, I hope I didn't put any negative energy in your minds. But they're wonderful. And I know that they've got that English tour coming up. I know they were looking for a while for potential bands, and now knowing that you live there, I mean, that might be cool one day to sort out. But I won't go any further into that in case conversations have already started.
I want to take him somewhere.
And then, well, lastly, cheekily, and this is the first time I'm going to do this because it's cheeky, but what I'm working on is putting together a little show reel for trying to just get more of these conversations. And so just cheekily, I was just wondering what your take on the last 35, 40 minutes was. So I could put it in the show reel. I know it's fucking so shameless, but it would just be wonderful to get a few words about how this went.
Well, John Williams is an asshole. I never want to work with him ever again. And don't listen to his show.
That's exactly what I was hoping for. Thank you.
No, you're a legend. You're a legend.
And a cheekily other thing is just check out whatwasthatradio.com if you want to dive into discovering over 5,000 new modern rock bands.
What do you want? Sorry? You want me to say that?
No, I don't want you to say that. Gosh, no. Take off the performing hat. No. No, what I meant was for you to discover more modern rock bands that you said, quote unquote, I'm shit at lately. Please consider checking out this cheeky station I've set up, because it's whether it's the 24/7 station online, whether it's all the Spotify playlists, or whether it's for the best of 2021 blog, I wrote write-ups on over 115 bands that really tickled my fancy last year. So it's a place to dive in if you want to, cheekily, just putting it out there. But otherwise,
sick.
Bonnie, just thank you so much for your time. What a pleasure to speak with you. I knew it was going to be so scandalous and fun before it happened, and I'm glad that it was.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
And best of luck with F.E.A.R, Fuck Everything and Run. For those that have joined recently, is out May 6th via Hopeless Records. And lots of love to you and the band. And I just am so thankful. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, man. You too. I'll speak to you soon.
All right. Cheerio.
Catch you, mate. Bye.
Bye. Bonnie was so flipping awesome. What a pleasure to speak with Stand Atlantic's leader. Not sure where that came from. Really didn't. I don't. Just process that a second to myself. Whatever you're doing the rest of your day, and as always, please look after yourself. I'm not even in the extra screen, am I? Not even. I hope there's some fun and smiles involved in the rest of your day too, because we've got to cherish that positive. For now, thank you again. And cheerio.